Hey everybody, Lux here. We're doing a little bit of different things. So, back in the latter part of 23, without any programming experience at all, I decided to teach myself GD script. I went through a tutorial on how to make Pong, and then began a 12-week journey of building out a Metroidvania. The plan was to use it as a slowly evolving project to learn how to use the engine. Start with platform mechanics, and then add it on until we kind of complete the goal of building out this fully fleshed out Metroidvania. And for the most part, it worked. I learned a ton, just problem solving, going through each aspect as I went, and I learned new things, and I would build on these things, and then just it was really interesting to do. And I wouldn't trade those 12 weeks, any course or anything like that. Very unique sort of thing to have to just crash course yourself. But at the end of those 12 weeks, disaster struck. Christmas and New Year's. Took some time off, about 2 weeks. I have been going really hard, both with a full time day job and doing some game streams interspersed, and then all the stuff learning to game dev. Basically, all of my spare time that wasn't those other things was being dumped straight into this, and it was a lot of fun. It was super cool, but I was a bit tired by then, and I needed a little bit of a break. Problem is, after that break, and it came time to buckle down and get back to work, it just became increasingly difficult. I realized I created a monster, a Frankenstein of code that worked, but very inconsistent, incoherent. A lot of different sort of things where I had very basic solutions to the stuff I'd worked on early, and then as I had gone and learned new things, I did different things, and these sort of newer philosophies and methods didn't really match with what I was doing. And having not documented any of my code because so much of it was like trial and error for hours to figure out how to do it, um, getting back into it was an absolute nightmare. Um, so yeah, adding new elements to the game would require either basically breaking the whole thing down and refactoring nearly everything, um, or just continuing to bolt on to this ever increasing Eldritch horror that was my code base. So it became very difficult to get myself to work on Godot anymore, which was a massive shame. I really enjoyed doing it. It's something I really like doing. I wanted to get back into it bad. So I needed to come up with a choice. And I think I chose a pretty good path. Started fresh. Magicvania, not dead. Gonna come back to it. But for right now, I'm gonna spend the next couple of months starting on new projects that are a little bit smaller in scope, that are gonna be a little bit easier to complete. We're gonna jump into some of those in a minute. Because I've learned a ton, not only from just doing it myself, but the research that I've been able to do for those things, and frankly, from the comments that people have left. I've had some great suggestions here and there for what I should be doing when it comes to this. And I get a little bit nervous because I putting myself out here as a complete novice, training myself from scratch, and I always get kind of a little bit scared. I'm like, hey, I'm baby, treat me, don't treat me like I know what I'm doing. But frankly, you guys have been very kind, and the suggestions that I've got, I've genuinely very very much appreciated them. They're very helpful, and I also got to help some others along the way. There was people who asked, how'd you do this? I was actually struggling with that myself. I was able to have a solution for them, so that was really cool, and it's been a great thing. And we're definitely going to be doing more devlogs in the future as I go. But yeah, so what did I move on to this time? So basically, last week I snagged some shmup assets off of itch.io for like $5, and I got to work. In an evening, I had the majority of what I was doing pretty much coded. It was actually kind of incredible how fast I could work from scratch, knowing what I know after those 12 weeks. So I jumped into that, and then over the weekend, if you're not catching this, close to when I made it, we're just passing Easter weekend, and I had visited some family, and I brought my laptop with me. and I didn't have a ton of time to do it, but when I could find time in between visiting, I bust the laptop out and I started working. And I came up with the majority of, an actual game here. I think, a little bit more, a little bit more work, and I think it's going to be actually a full level of this kind of shoot 'em up space sim sort of thing. That's anyway. Yeah, so let's jump in and take a look, shall we? Okay, so here we are. This is our little shmup that I worked on over the weekend. So you can see here we just got a basic level in a little 4x3 area. And yeah, we just got these kind of star fields. One is just a smaller version, one's a larger. And there's kind of like two of each. And as they both kind of scroll down, they sort of pop back up. And then they scroll down again as they sort of just leapfrog each other. And that gives us this sort of endless scrolling starfield, which is kind of cool. I've got like two enemies. I've got some dynamic spawns. So let's see kind of how that works in action. So if we just pop into here, you can see we can fly our little spaceship around. We can shoot little laser bolts. The enemies explode. They give us points up at the top. We can get hit by the enemy laser bolts. If we crash into the enemy ships, then we explode. And we can get a game over even so. You can see how they the little swooper enemies that kind of scroll back and forth. And yeah, we sort of have the components of a very basic game in the genre. So I'm really excited. We had a boss to this, and I think we're pretty much good to go. So yeah, I could go like line by line through a lot of the code, but frankly, I think maybe we could leave that to another time. But yeah, this is very exciting to me. I'm using a lot more, signals and groups. I'm making much more use of the engine now that I know what I'm doing and not just hard referencing everything and whatnot. So, and yeah, this is all stuff that I learned over creating the previous project. And this project, it took me maybe 2-3 days to get to this point, where my first project, I took me 12 weeks to get as far as I did. And that's probably the biggest thing I learned over those 12 weeks. That your first project shouldn't be something that is going to take months to a year to finish when you're learning. I think something this kind of size, I had the right idea originally, right? I built Pong, and then I started this other thing. I had this idea that it starts out as just building a platformer. And then once you build your platformer, then you take that and you add on to it. It's the adding on, I feel, that was the problem. The problem was that you're not going to get the platformer correct the first time around, so don't do it. I think if I had anything to tell myself back then, I would probably say, just do the platformer, and then build out a platformer level until you're happy with the platformer, and then shut it down, and then make another game, again from scratch. Because I think that's just a much healthier way to approach it. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at for right now. I'm expecting to hopefully bring these videos out again, maybe on a monthly cadence, maybe every other week. But yeah, we're gonna be back to much more regular videos, and I'm very excited. I'm very excited to show what I'm doing, and maybe get some streams in as well. If you're interested in the stream, it's twitch.tv/luxuryyacht. Of course, I do much more gameplay there than I do software development at the moment, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching the video, for hanging out, and for being interested in my own little sort of self-teaching. If you are interested in learning this stuff, get out there and make some stuff, because no better way. Learn. See you next time.